What's happening, guys? Welcome back. Apologies in advance if you hear like crazy wind out there. There's a snowstorm where I'm at. For those of you guys who are experiencing a storm as well, stay safe. So in this segment, I want to talk about whether or not Jon Jones is underestimating Ciryl Gane. So in a string of tweets, I have them up on the screen. You guys can see them, but I'm going to read them off. Jon Jones kind of dismisses Gane, diminishes his skill set. So Jones goes, "Man, I just finished watching my Thiago Santos fight again. I think it's crazy that you guys consider Gane the most technical kickboxer I've ever faced. Everything Thiago did have bad intentions on it. Dude had lightning speed, power, explosiveness, crazy versatility." Alright, if I could just dissect that real quick. Notice how with Gane, Jones is mentioning technical. And when he talks about Thiago Santos, he mentions every other attribute besides being technical and technique. He says lightning speed, power, explosiveness, crazy versatility. Okay, John, I don't even think you believe that Thiago Santos is just as technical as Ciryl Gane. But moving on. So in another tweet, Jones posts, Gane's last 3 opponents had terrible defense. Those guys couldn't stop a kick if their life depended on it. He's fought flat-footed boxers his last 3 fights. And in this third tweet, Jones goes, gave up a dominant position, went for a leg lock when all he had to do was lay on an exhausted Francis. Alright, so what Jon is doing here is playing mind games. Jon Jones is an ultimate competitor. He doesn't even believe everything he's tweeting. But he wants Gane to believe it on some level. He's trying to plant doubt in Gane's head, trying to break his confidence even by 5%. Because when you're in the trenches in a fight, when you're under extreme stress, that's when those demons creep up and you could give up. As a result, they get amplified. So you have like a little seed of doubt and you're in the middle of the fight and things are not going to plan. Jones could be at the time doing well in the areas that he said he would be doing well, and you could be at that moment doing bad in the areas that he said you would be doing bad. And sometimes this is how a fight plays out. It's not that like somebody's Nostradamus or some like master strategist, because Jones himself has made mistakes in fights. Do you think he wanted to be caught in an armbar by Vitor Belfort? And I know he got out of it, but he almost got his arm broken. Clearly, you don't want to be in that position. How many times did he get touched up by Gustafsson, Reyes? Jon's an amazing fighter, but he's not perfect. Nobody is. Hindsight is always 20/20. Jon critiquing Gane's performances, critiquing his opponents, diminishing his ability publicly. All that is to get into Ciryl Gane's head and also boost himself up mentally. He may not truly believe it, and I think I've even heard Jon Jones admit and say after fights that he was just talking smack, trying to get into somebody's head. So it's kind of like how champions have like self-talk and visualization. What you think in your mind projects into reality, into like action. And all the great champions do this. All the great players in sports, competitors, they visualize, they talk to themselves in their head. Sometimes they talk to themselves out loud over and over, just like positive reinforcement, positive delusions, until like they hypnotize themselves to believe these things. So part of it is that it's like Jon just bringing Ciryl down to like a human level. He's not feeding into the hype that Ciryl Gane is the most athletic, most agile heavyweight we've ever seen, that he's a freak specimen, that he's the most technical striker in the heavyweight division ever. Jon's just knocking all that down a few pegs, which is boosting his confidence up, playing mind games with Ciryl Gane. If Gane reads those tweets or somebody tells him about it, and it affects him even in the slightest, that's a win for Jon. And Jones is like I said, he's a super competitor, so any advantage he can get, he's going to try to get and win every battle. That goes from trash talk, that goes to stare downs, press conferences. He's going to win everything. And psychologically, I mean, I think it really does matter in a fight. these little weird things outside of the match kind of like add up and can have influence in a fight and be factors. So do I truly think that John is underestimating Ciryl Gane? Nope, I don't believe that at all. I don't think John underestimates anybody really, but I do think he plays mind games. I do think he tries to get into people's heads. I do think he tries to create doubt in their minds. And I do think some of this is self-talk strengthening his mind. I'd expect to see a fully prepared Jon Jones, all pistons firing, well aware of the dangers of Ciryl Gane, what he brings to the table. John's going to be ready. And just to touch on Ciryl Gane, I think Ciryl Gane is a very intelligent guy. He doesn't strike me as a dum-dum or a person that's going to feed into the mind games. He seems pretty cerebral himself, just in a different way. John's aggressive, man. He's a trash talker. Ciryl Gane, not so much, but I think he's one of the types that internalizes, processes things in his head, and just executes in the cage or in the ring. So I think Cyryl's going to come in prepared. I don't think Cyryl's going to have any lack of confidence. I bet Ciryl doesn't even read tweets, doesn't pay attention to any noise outside of the fight, because again, I think he's intelligent and he's aware of the mind games himself. So I hope some of this made sense, this whole philosophical, psychological sports rant, combat sports rant, on what some of these guys try to do, what Jon Jones might be trying to do. But you guys let me know in the comment section, do you truly think that John is underestimating Ciryl Gane? Or do you think that it's mind games? Do you think it's John boosting himself up mentally and trying to create doubt in Cyryl's mind? Because that's what I think it is. Appreciate you guys watching this segment. Can't wait for this fight. I'm really excited for this fight. Once it goes down, we'll come back and talk about it as usual. Until then, my friends, everyone, please take care. Stay safe. Talk soon.